My wife kissed her boss at the company Christmas party and called him a real man. I smiled, walked out, and destroyed both their careers with one email. She lost everything. And the best part is, she still thinks it was only about the affair. It wasn't, it was about respect. My name is Holden Ross. I'm 51. For the past 19 years, I managed supply chain at Meridian Automotive. Nothing glamorous. Just making sure parts arrived on time so assembly lines could keep running. My wife, Jessica Fortiet, worked in marketing at Vanguard Solutions, a mid-sized consulting firm. We had 2 children, Theodore, 23, studying computer science at State, and Sophie, 18. Finishing high school, the party was at the Riverside Hotel. One of those glittering affairs with an open bar and a jazz band nobody really listened to. Jessica wore a red dress that night, the kind that turns heads. I wore the same charcoal suit I'd worn to every company event for 5 years. We arrived separately. She said she had a late meeting. I was nursing a ginger ale by the dessert table when I saw them. Jessica and her boss, Brandon Kent. He was 50, silver-haired. The kind of man who looked like he'd stepped out of a cologne commercial. They were laughing too loudly and standing too close. Then she grabbed his tie, pulled him down, and kissed him not a peck, but a long public kiss. The kind that makes people shift and stare at their phones. The room fell silent for a breath. That awkward pause when everyone knows something inappropriate happened, but nobody wants to speak. Jessica pulled back, snatched a champagne flute from a waiter and raised it. "Ladies," she announced, her voice carrying, "this is what confidence feels like. This is what ambition looks like." She gestured toward Brandon. "This is what a real leader inspires." Her eyes found mine across the room. She was waiting for me to react to give her the drama she wanted. I smiled, a real, calm smile. Then I set down my glass, straightened my jacket, and walked to the exit. No scene, no shouting. Just footsteps on marble and the muffled jazz behind me. Outside, the December air hit me like a slap. I pulled out my phone. The email was already drafted. Had been for 2 weeks? Subject line, compliance concerns, urgent review required. Attached were 3 audio files, 2 PDFs, and 1 video clip. Time-stamped, verified, damning. I hit send to 1 recipient. Then I got in my car and drove home. The party went on for 2 more hours. Jessica kept laughing. Brandon thought he'd won. She stumbled through the front door at 2 a.m. I was awake in my home office, lights off, watching the driveway. Her dress was wrinkled. The motion sensor lights made everything harsh and unforgiving. She didn't call out. She kicked off her heels, headed upstairs, closed the bedroom door. Water ran in the bathroom. Then silence. At 3:47 a.m., her phone rang. I heard the ringtone through the walls. Once, twice, 3 times, then it stopped. 30 seconds later, it rang again and she answered, voice groggy. Confusion turned to alert, then to panic. Footsteps overhead. A light clicked on. I could hear her laptop start up. I stayed in my chair and waited. She came downstairs 5 minutes later, makeup smeared, wearing an old sweatshirt and pajama pants, clutching her laptop like a shield. She saw me in the kitchen and stopped. "You're awake," she said flatly. It wasn't a question, couldn't sleep. Her voice tried to be casual, but it wasn't. "Brandon called," she said. "Finally, did he?" I raised an eyebrow. "A bit late for a work call." Her jaw tightened. "He said you sent him something, an email." She opened her laptop and turned it toward me. My subject line was visible. The attachments were listed, but not opened. Smart. Part of her didn't want to know. "Evidence," I said. "Compliance documentation. Brandon should review it carefully." "You both should." She asked, "What is this, Holden?" "You've known for months," I answered. "The question isn't what I have. It's what you're going to do now that other people have it too." She sank onto the couch. "Who else has this? Who did you send it to?" she demanded, I told her. "Someone who deserves to know. Someone who's been lied to as much as I have." Her face went white. "You didn't tell me you sent this to his wife," she whispered, I said. Miranda was receptive when I reached out. She had suspicions. When I showed her what I found, she had information of her own. Sophie found me with the laptop sliding from her hands. "You've been planning this for 6 months," she said. I confirmed when I found the first hotel receipt. I told her she hadn't been careful. Same credit card on the family plan, same shared calendar. She stuttered, tried to speak, then broke into real tears. I told her I needed something public. "You gave me that tonight." Later that night, Miranda Collin, HR woman at Vanguard, showed up at my office. 42, dark hair pulled back, professional, tired. "Mr. Ross," she said, "I hope you don't mind me coming by. I got your office from the directory." She sat down, hands clasped. She thanked me for what I sent Friday night and slid a flash drive across my desk like a weight. Security footage. Internal emails. Evidence that Brandon and Jessica were not only having an affair, but discussing merger details with Caldwell Industries before the deal was approved. That was securities violation, territory worse than infidelity. Miranda explained she'd been pushed aside by Brandon years ago, and she wanted justice. Theodore had come to her 2 weeks earlier, she said. He'd found texts and downloaded messages from the family plan. He wanted to help. My son, a good kid, had been quietly gathering evidence against his mother. I felt sick and proud at the same time. I plugged the drive into my laptop. There it was. Videos, emails, bank statements. Enough to end careers, maybe start lawsuits. I didn't plan to use all of it. I hoped she'd end things. She didn't. By Tuesday afternoon, things began to fall apart. Apex Manufacturing put our shipment on temporary hold, citing an internal review. Tecker Industries flagged capacity constraints. Precision Dynamics requested contract renegotiation due to changes in relationship management. Those were 3 vendors Jessica relied on for a Q1 product launch. Pending was enough to kill a launch. Jessica's assistant called me repeatedly. I didn't answer. Sophie locked herself in her room and cried. "Everyone knows," she told me. "Everyone at school is talking about how Mom cheated." I sat on her bed and said, "You don't understand. Your mother made those choices. I'm just making sure they have consequences," Theodore texted. "Dad, we need to talk." He was scared. Jessica had found texts showing he'd been helping Miranda. She threatened to cut him off from tuition and help if he didn't help her fix things. She'd also planned to claim the evidence was fabricated, that I manipulated timestamps. I told Theodore to stay quiet, to let the legal process handle it. He insisted on helping finish this. We were both reluctant soldiers on the same side. I submitted my resignation that Thursday, 90 days, citing an executive transition clause buried in my original contract. It gave me discretionary oversight of vendor relationships during extended transitions. I could approve or pause supplier contracts for 90 days. I filed my letter, and remote work was approved. By noon, Apex had sent its hold notice to Jessica's project manager. By 2 p.m., the second vendor paused. By 3:15, the coup of Meridian, Paul Hendris, called me furious. 2 of our major suppliers had put contracts on hold, and they were tied to accounts I managed Holden. "What the hell is going on?" he demanded. "I resigned this morning," I told him. 90 days. Check with HR. Silence. Then we have a $15 million product launch in 6 weeks. Call the vendors. Smooth this over. I could have. But I was preserving the clause I found to hold them accountable. I hung up. By Monday, the vendor slowdowns had killed Jessica's product launch. I ignored her assistant's calls. I ignored Jessica's pleas. I was methodical. I was not cruel and only decisive. On Monday morning, the business news picked it up. Vanguard announced emergency resignations. Brandon and 3 other executives were out. Jessica's name was on the list. Caldwell Industries sued Vanguard for disclosure violations. The lawsuit claimed $8 million. That number landed like a blow. It meant more than losing a job. It meant possible personal liability, lawsuits, devastating financial consequences. I spoke with Caldwell's general counsel, Jennifer Caldwell. She thanked me, said the evidence from Miranda had been instrumental. She said they might need my testimony. She also warned me that Jessica could face individual liability reaching into the millions. Sophie accused me. "This is because of what you sent people, isn't it? You're destroying her. No, I said. This is because she broke the law. I met with my attorney, David Sterling. The divorce will be finalized within 60 days, he said, laying out documents. The prenup was ironclad. But Jessica's retirement accounts were joint marital property. Given the misconduct, we could argue for division against her. I didn't want her destitute. I told him I wanted a trust set up. $200,000 invested conservatively to generate monthly income for her basic needs. Anonymous. Controlled by a third party, principal inaccessible. David raised an eyebrow, then agreed. Practicality, not vengeance. Jessica called and begged to meet. I agreed. She arrived at 7, desperate and hollow. She asked, "Did you plan this from the beginning? Was this all calculated?" "I documented things when I discovered them," I said. "I didn't want to use them. I hoped you'd stop. You didn't." She begged for mercy. "Will you buy out my portion of the house before the judgment hits? Give me something so I can start over." I handed her the trust documents. $200,000, I said. No catch. Monthly distributions only. Anonymous. You'll never access the principal. You can never know it came from me, she sobbed. "I don't deserve this," she said. "No," I replied. "You don't. But you are the mother of my children. I won't let you be homeless." She left. The door closed. I felt the weight of 19 years lift a little. It was over. 14 months later, I stood in the driveway of a smaller house, watching Theodore and Sophie carry boxes inside. Spring warmed my face. The divorce finalized in March. The Caldwell lawsuit settled for $2.8 million. Jessica would be paying it off for a decade, but she had something to live on. She found a job as a marketing coordinator at a nonprofit in an apartment across town. Theodore graduated in May and landed a software engineering job in Seattle. He called every Sunday. Sophie had been hard or angry, torn, but she began to understand and to rebuild a relationship with me. She was living with me and finishing her senior year. One evening, Miranda texted, "Heard you closed on the new place." "Congratulations." She told me how she'd started an HR consulting firm. Brandon had gotten divorced and lost everything. Justice, in its odd way, had been served. I had lost a marriage, 19 years, the comfortable life I knew. But I had gained self-respect and honesty. I had learned I could stand up for myself when it mattered. I sat on the back porch that night with a beer and watched the stars. The future, uncertain as it was, felt wide open.